Hello again, I am Blunty. Was the Switch Mini just unofficially revealed to me? This is the question asked by Captain Alex, who is self-described on their Twitter profile as artist, creator, pilot, Wicked Cool Toys, and Jack's Toys ambassador. This is a tweet that's sort of gotten pushed under my nose. Doesn't seem to have gotten that much traction so far. 26 comments, 67 retweets, 234 likes. The rest of it reads, a gaming company in China just wrote to me letting me know they're releasing accessories for the Nintendo Switch Mini. Would a company make products for a console they didn't know existed, didn't have in hand? Well, I mean, let's start from the beginning here. There's probably a Switch Mini coming, sooner or later. We are a little over 2 years into the Nintendo Switch's lifespan, and as is traditional with Nintendo's handhelds, hardware revisions come every 2 years or so. It's been a fairly reliable kind of thing to expect that, every year and a half, 2 years, there's another hardware revision that tweaks things a little bit and changes up the design a little bit, sometimes significant ways, sometimes just minor ways. Add a camera to the DSi or flatten out the 3DS into a 2DS and not make it fold anymore to make it cheaper to make and more robust for little kids. And, they never redesign for the sake of redesigning. There's always some purpose to it, either to make it cheaper to manufacture and therefore bigger profits, or they can drop the prices so they can sell even more, or just to boost sales at Christmas time, or just to add a feature, or in the case of the new 3DS, to baffle and confuse the market space and only have like 3 or 4 games that even work with the damn thing and take advantage of it anyway and be a miserable, complete failure and ended the 3DS's lifespan with a instead of a woo. Point is, safe bet, there is a Switch revision coming this Christmas. We're probably going to hear about it within the next few months. They're probably going to leave any official announcement till very, very close to Christmas so that they don't squish any possibility of selling through current stocks sitting on warehouse shelves right now, because the last thing they want is a bunch of first-gen Switches sitting there not being able to be sold because there are newer and better models out there. But I would feel safe in putting, a reasonable amount of money on a bet that this Christmas we'll see a new Switch, maybe even 2 new Switches. Rumor has it, conjecture, haven't seen any legitimate proof, or just this is basically guesswork and hearsay and, well, wouldn't this be cool? And, well, this seems like an obvious way to go kind of rumors, Switch Mini and Switch XL or Switch Max or whatever they call it. A smaller version, a bigger version, basically. I'd put 50-50 on either or both. They both seem like reasonable and, again, logical directions to go. But the problem with this tweet from this Chinese manufacturer is threefold. Number one, it's incredibly unlikely that Nintendo will let some sort of generic third-party accessory manufacturer know about the Switch Mini before anybody else and just trust them not to leak it. Number two, if you take a look at the picture they supplied with this alleged email, all of the accessories are basically pre-existing Switch accessories. They haven't even bothered to Photoshop them. They look identical to what is already out there for the actual normal existing proper in reality Switch. And the third nail in that coffin, the Switch Mini that they showed off in these pictures is a well-known fan fake, a mock-up that someone did. I'm not even sure whether they tried to hide the fact it was a fake or that someone tried to pass it off as real, but it's been out there for quite some time now, probably more than a year, I think. We've been seeing this thing float around, the little Switch Mini without detachable Joy-Cons, just sort of one little unit, Game Boy Advance style looking thing, except Switch. So there's one of a few things happening here. Either this is complete bullshit from the ground up, someone's trying to prank him or start another rumor mill, or it's a Redditor or a 4chaner just trying to stir some crap up, or it's a legitimate third-party manufacturer who thinks there's a Switch Mini coming and are just trying to get out ahead of things so they can sort of get their foot in the door with influencers and things like that. Or there is actually a Switch Mini coming and they have found out about it and they're starting the sort of process of figuring out what products they're going to supply with it and stuff, and have just sort of done mock-up graphics in the meantime. Frankly, on this one, I've got to come down on the side of it's just BS. The formatting of this email is something I get all of the time, like 3-4 times a day. It's hi, insert name here. Often it comes misaddressed because whatever macros I used to do this form letter stuff are just kind of broken or mistranslate. Greetings from whatever. Glad to tell you that we will release whatever it is etc. Looking forward to working with you, blah, blah, blah. It's fairly standard boilerplate stuff. It's worded almost exactly like everything else I get from these type of companies that I just kind of ignore and delete because usually it's crap. But yeah, while this is crap, I don't think it's crap. We're going to see a hardware refresh of the Switch. Whether or not it is a Mini or an XL or just a straight up refresh of the hardware to replace what's already out there instead of supplementing it, I don't know. I would think, let me grab my Switch. I would think, actually did this on stream the other day when we were talking about it, but I measured it. What was it? It was, how big is the screen again? It's 6.5 inch. But you could probably squeeze 7.5 inch screen in that exact same space pretty easily. And bigger screens are always nicer, especially if you don't, increase the size of the actual Switch itself. What do you guys reckon? What do you reckon is more likely? Switch XL, bigger one, maybe the same size as that with a bigger screen, just a straight up refresh? Or you think they're going to do a Switch Mini? I don't think they're going to do a Switch Mini in the way that the mock-ups have presented it without the detachable Joy-Cons, because there are a lot of games out there that literally rely on those detachable Joy-Cons for certain gameplay aspects. I mean, yes, they're designed to be able to use without them as well in case you've got a Pro controller, but I don't see Nintendo devaluing the concept of the detachable Joy-Con. I don't think they would consider that in their best interest. I think they want to leave that as a point of distinction for the Switch. Things they can do. I mean, that's the whole with their cardboard Labo stuff. It revolves entirely around detachable Joy-Cons. And if a Switch Mini, designed for smaller hands, let's say, children, same target market as the Labo, a Switch Mini without detachable controllers would make it inherently incompatible with the Labo, and it doesn't seem like a very Nintendo thing to do. Then again, sometimes Nintendo just do things. And the rest of us are like, huh? Why?